Well, I'm delighted to be here in Dubai at the Shangri-La Hotel, talking to Aideen Hopkins from EER. Aideen, welcome. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's delighted to be here and great to see you. Welcome back to Dubai. It's brilliant that you're here.
So we're expecting 140 guests tonight for a dinner.
Exciting.
EER are one of the sponsors. For those PCD members less familiar with the EER business, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do here in Dubai?
Yeah, sure. Well, firstly, thank you. We're delighted to be sponsoring and super excited to see everybody tonight. First time in a room of people in a very long time. But yeah, just to talk a little bit about EER. So we're an Irish-owned company based here in Dubai, providing corporate services to clients, but also we provide relocation services and immigration services. So we're working across 3 different departments, and at any one time can service a client if they're looking to come in, set up a business for residency purposes. We can help them do that. We can help them to hire and sponsor their employees, and in turn help them to settle into life here, whether it's finding a home to live in, schools for their children, going through all the red tape like setting up alcohol licenses, driver's licenses, and all of those things. Yeah.
So from my meetings the past few days, it seems to me that Dubai is booming. There's a lot of inbound traffic, particularly from Europe. So I imagine these services have become peak.
It's booming. I think since September. Whether it's the Expo effect, we're not really quite sure, but certainly since the return to school in September, things have got super busy. And what we're finding at EER is particularly, let's say, on the relocation side of things and the immigration side of things, work that was held in pipeline or on hold for the last 18 months is suddenly now becoming live, and people are beginning to move. So we're super busy, and in actual fact I would say we are busier now than we were back in 2019 before the pandemic began. So the struggle, it's keeping up now is the issue.
Yeah, I mean, what is it that you think is driving a lot of that? Is it the way that the pandemic has been handled in a unique way, I think, here, kept things going, and the entrepreneurial buzz and vibe here is very distinct. Is that some of the ingredients that are driving that?
That's absolutely true. And I think globally, I think there was a report last week from Bloomberg placing the UAE number 3 globally for its handling of the pandemic. And I think people around the world have seen that. And we have a lot of people that are coming here because they were just so fed up in lockdown, they decided to come to Dubai, and try and do something new and different. In particular as well, we would have had an awful lot of inquiries from law firms who were looking to relocate very wealthy individuals. I think we were kind of dubbing it COVID asylum. So coming to Dubai, setting up businesses, relocating with their families and that. And also a lot of Asian firms. I think if you look around at the moment, we can see that fintech, tech companies alone, and Chinese companies, a lot of them are moving in, which is great for the economy. It's great for commercial real estate. We can see that occupancy is starting to rise in that market as well. I mean, right now, if you were to try and rent a property on the Palm, not going to happen. It is next to impossible to find something there. The demand is huge. Property prices are starting to increase now again. And I think probably all week you're going to hear people complain about the traffic, the difficulty in getting a taxi. And there's so many people here at the moment, it's buzzing.
Because, I mean, on the surface level, Dubai seems a very easy place to come, but your business helps people negotiate the real challenges actually that emerge when you want to be here more permanently, And so perhaps you give us a flavour of the sort of things that people might not expect and actually you help them solve,
So certainly coming in if you're looking to set up business here, So I mean, there's so many opportunities, there's mainland to set up a business. Do I go mainland? Do I go free zone? Do I go offshore? So, we're able to give that advice based on, of course, what your company goals are, what your goals are as an individual as well, and help you to work towards that, establish your company, bring you and your family here to establish as well. And, particularly things where we probably offer a lot of additional support would be things like banking. So whilst Dubai is very easy to come in and very easy to set up, it's very business friendly, and they want you here. I think often the challenge is still very much around banking and getting bank account open, you know. Like for example, let's say if you're maybe a consultancy firm coming out, right, and you want to come out and set up here, you maybe don't want to put too much money into it initially. You want to test the water, set up your company, and maybe not rent a big office, but you want to do something like a flexi desk. And you know, free zones have made that entirely possible to rent a flexi desk, so it's cheap, it's easy, but banks don't recognize that so well yet. So it can be, whilst it's easy to set yourself up, getting that bank account can be quite the challenge. So we're, you know, through our contacts and all of that with banks, we're able to offer a lot of support to our clients in getting that final hurdle, if you like, in getting yourself established here as a business.
And you mentioned some of the innovation, like I've heard and had meetings this week around things like crypto and how some of the regulators here are trying to get their heads around how they can support crypto. You know, it's an area of real innovation, so there's no obvious answers, are there, as to how you regulate these services? But I think there's a willingness, isn't there, here to try and find solutions?
Oh, look, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, where there's a will, there's a way, and they're never afraid of anything. And if they want something to happen, believe me, it will happen. You just have to look at something like Expo, you know, what they can build. You know, 6 years ago it was a desert out there. If you go out and see it now, it's phenomenal what they've achieved. But yeah, there was some big crypto conferences here a few weeks ago happening as well. We've had quite a number of inquiries about people setting up crypto businesses as well, and platforms trading in crypto and that. But I think there was also maybe a couple of months ago, there was a launch of a Dubai coin, it was called. It was totally, it wasn't legitimate at all. But I think because it said Dubai coin, a lot of people fell for it. So I think the authorities have to do something, you know, around it. So you eliminate those kind of activities and you regulate the industry, you know.
And what kind of impact does Expo have on trade? Are you seeing some like tangible deals being struck down there and a real boost? I mean, there's a tourism angle, there's a few different angles to it, aren't there?
Yeah, you know, well, I think first and foremost, like Dubai, what's important to Dubai are things like travel, tourism, hospitality. And Expo now is just, you know, driving that and really increasing it. And, you know, I think during the week there was a report from Dubai airports that they have regained their position now as the busiest airport in the world. They see a huge increase in flights and tourism in December. And probably the main problem is they just don't have enough staff because not everybody is back yet to be able to handle all of that, you know. So certainly Expo is doing something brilliant for those sectors. But I think, yes, a lot of, let's say, for example, business councils. So there's a lot of events happening out at Expo at the moment. They've some huge exhibition centres out there with many different conferences taking place. And then companies and business councils are holding networking events and meetings for people to get out there, meet people, and hopefully strike some new deals.
And as you mentioned before, it's not just investment from, say, European side. Asia is really coming, you know, and so it's a global play, isn't it? Across many. Do you see that coming through now with Chinese investment coming in?
Yes, you do,
Dubai?
most certainly. There's a hell of a lot of it coming in, you know. But also, as well as the Chinese, remember back earlier this year that we opened up to Israel, you know, and I think. I believe in January of last year you have DMCC, which is the Multi-Commodities Centre, so that's trading in diamonds and things like that. And I think alone in January there was maybe 60 to 80 Israeli companies opened up, you know, and you'll see them having meetings downtown and all of that. So that was huge for the region as well, that happened. So yeah, there's so much going on here, you just cannot keep up.
And people come here for enterprise, for that spirit, you know, in business, like you can see that. But they also have introduced retirement visas. Are you seeing that being taken up? What's your read on that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's been such a number of initiatives. So you've had the remote working visa, you've had the retirement visa, and then we have the golden visa as well. For the golden visa for people that have exceptional talents or have really contributed to the development and the success of the Dubai and the UAE story. So, you know, in certain cases you're nominated for the golden visa, but but also you can apply depending on, you know, if you are a doctor or if you are a scientist, a researcher. Exceptional students that will have had a GPA of 3.75, they can apply for the golden visa, and you can get it for 10 years. So it takes so much pressure off, and it means your family can also be sponsored on it, and it's renewable as long as you continue to meet those that criteria as well. And as well, it can be investment. So if you have investment, I think north of 10 million, you can qualify for the golden visa. The retirement visa as well, the same thing. That's a 5-year visa for people aged 55 and over. So again, like a great place, a great city to come to. It handled COVID so well. I think 88% of the population are fully vaccinated. You know, booster rounds are starting now again as well. We only had, I think, 3 weeks of a hard lockdown, and then we were, you know, we were back. We closed down in March. We were all back in an office by July. So there's great healthcare system here, you know, as well. So it's very attractive for retirees. And then with the remote working visa, that allowed people who were in lockdown at home and around the world to come and work from Dubai. So they've had super initiatives to encourage people, and I think those initiatives and kind of the sentiment around, you know, how great Dubai is, how well it handles things, that it's just spurring on kind of this entrepreneurial spirit and making things, you know, busy and the place to come to.
And you mentioned before interacting with different intermediaries. I mean, tonight at the dinner we've got intermediaries, lawyers, tax advisors, and different professionals from many jurisdictions. What kind of professionals do you typically work with? You know, where is there a good fit?
Yeah, so very much lawyers. So they will have clients that are looking for support, be it setting up, structuring, anything like that, relocating, immigration support. Same with bankers. They may have clients, but ultimately we like to work. We'll work with bankers because we need to have introductions and good bankers to work with that will help us help our clients to get their bank accounts up and running once they have set up their businesses as well. So they're very private wealth, trust companies, all of that. So not just locally, but you know, all around the world as well, particularly Isle of Man, Guernsey, Jersey, London, the likes of Malta and Switzerland as well, that we would work with a lot of those kind of professional companies that would be making introductions to us and for us to support them.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you, Aideen, for talking to me today, and we look forward to sharing this with our members.
Okay, thank you. Pleasure.